Hi guys, welcome back to my world of fragrance. We are talking fall fragrances today. I have finally embraced the fact that it is fall and summer is over and it is time to wear some lovely, cuddly, and interesting fall fragrances, so stay tuned. So the first fragrance that I am loving, I've actually had since maybe springtime, and it is called Pourpre d'automne, so like purple autumn, by Maison Violet, and this is a French fragrance brand that has been around since the 1920s, but kind of went out of business or something and then had a revival, came back, and we're seeing quite a few of this type of brand, like heritage brands that somehow got cut off along the way and then are now realizing that, you know, there's a market for it, so why not revive the old brands? So this is one of their more famous fragrances. It was created in 1923 originally, and this is like a revamped, new, modern take on that vintage juice, we might want to say. This is a violet dominant fragrance, and I have a thing for violet at the moment. It's a purple flower that is, it can be quite jarring. If you're not really into violet, I think that it might be offensive. Anyways, it's not the safest choice of a floral to go with, but I am just having a moment for it. It is very powdery, has a vintagey feel, but this is a revamped fragrance, so for that reason, it does not feel really vintagey. It still feels like a very, very modern fragrance. So there's tons of violet in here. There's also iris in here, and it goes a little bit sweet and gives you that kind of glamorous feel. I like to use this to feel daytime glamorous. And the quality of this fragrance is amazing. You really sense beautiful ingredients in these. This projects also amazingly, so it's a fragrance that definitely gets noticed. But like I said, violet can be a bit of a jarring floral, so definitely figure out if violet is something that you love. And if you do, this is a violet fragrance to check out. If you are a fan of, let's say, Insolence by Germain, that one is just a gorgeous powdery violet that becomes like Parma violet sweets. This one will definitely be up your valley. It's just gorgeous. I'm going to spray this on right now. What the heck? It's the first one in my list, but just talking about it, I remember how amazing it is. So a very distinct floral for you confident floral wearers out there for the autumn. And it has autumn in the name as well, like come on. The next fragrance that I have is another quite posh smelling French style perfume. And it is the iconic, for me this is a very iconic bottle and fragrance by Diptyque, which is a brand that I absolutely adore and love. I think that I have more Diptyques out of probably any brand. I could be wrong, but I do love my Diptyques, and so I had to add this one to the collection. This one is probably their most grown-up scent, I would say, or like it smells posh, it smells grown-up, it smells put together. It's basically a combination of all of the notes that they use in all of their perfumes, and it's supposed to recreate the scent of walking into their main flagship store on Boulevard Germain. And you know that sensation that you get when perhaps you've walked into a perfume shop, you've tried different things, you walk out of the perfume shop and into a room, and then people are like, oh, you smell amazing. What have you been spraying? And really it's just all of the fragrances in the shop, like a culmination of all of the scents that have then, you know, gotten into your clothing, and then you walk out and you have this veil of a scent bomb and you can't actually put your finger on it, but you just smell really great. This is basically that scent, poshed up, amped up, polished, and you know, they say that there are so many ingredients in this, but really it is mainly amber, sandalwood, and vanilla. So it is a warm, ambery, vanillic fragrance, and then you really get, I mean, I kind of have a weird relationship with this one because it smells different to me on different days as well. Like some days I am obsessed, cannot get enough of it, and other days I'm like, I'm not too sure. So on those days I do, and this was something that the Diptyque store associate told me in London, is that you could layer another Diptyque fragrance on top that works well with it. And the one that works for me is Trois, which is an old myrrh fragrance, so kind of incensey. It smells like really steamy incense, and this one I will then spray on top, or even if I'm not like not feeling this fragrance that much, I will just combine the two. But you really have to like, you know, the nice myrrh fragrance that is Trois, which is one of their oldest fragrances. It is a particular scent. But yeah, it adds this kind of mysterious edge to Trinquette Boulevard Saint-Germain. Layering is always something that you kind of have to play around with, and I know perfume purists do not come at me for layering, but I do enjoy doing it sometimes. The next fragrance that I have, now that I mentioned kind of mysterious, is La Fumée Alexandrie by Miller Harris, a London brand perfumer. The perfumer is Lynn Harris, who is now legendary, has her own brand called Perfumer H and is doing all sorts of amazing artistic things. But for Miller Harris, she created this fragrance, which is a smoky rose. And now we're still in daytime for me, okay? So this is what I like to wear in the daytime. I still enjoy something that is a little bit mysterious. It's nice smelling, a little bit unusual, isn't it? And isn't that why you're at this channel? So La Fumée Alexandrie is a smoke-filled rose. It's a dark rose, but you still can get away with it in daytime. And what I'm trying to say is it actually still smells clean. So it's not smoky in the sense that, you know, it's so super crazy out there unusual. It still is something that I think is, you know, societally acceptable to wear. So I enjoy this one a lot, and please also make sure that if you try this one, I'm talking about the one in the black bottle, so the one that has been kind of reissued. I had the one that was in the clear bottle, and it wasn't nearly as smoky, or the smoke disappeared quite fast, and then the rose became a little bit more soapy. But the smoke stays, it lingers in this one, but still, it's clean. It's not like a dirty, overbearing smoke. It's just a hint of smoke. Like, it's just a beautiful rose. I really adore this one from this line. It's my favorite from this black bottle line. It's not sweet at all. It's like dark crimson rose petals that have been laid on top of a smoke blanket and, you know, have become dry from laying on top of this smoke blanket. I just love it. I mean, it's super hard to describe, but try it out if a nice dark rose sounds good to you. So another fragrance that I would definitely recommend for this fall is Le Lion by Chanel. I have a full review of that fragrance. But if you are on a budget and would like something that is along those lines, I'm not saying it's the same thing. It's not nearly as heavy. It's a lot more daytime appropriate, I would say, but it still smells slightly posh. There's a new release from Lush called Shade, and I was lucky enough to be invited to host the launch of Shade, but I just think that this fragrance is really, really great for what it is. I believe these go for 25 pounds, so it really is a steal. And I got to understand the lengths at which Lush goes to source their ingredients. So this is a frankincense, which is, you know, olibanum oil that's in here, as well as sandalwood. So if you love sandalwood and frankincense, then this would be right up your alley. It also is interesting because it starts off kind of fougere-esque, so it has this aromatic beginning to it. And it reminds me of like stepping into a bathroom where steam has been evaporating from the bath. So it has this kind of spa-like aromatic quality at first, but then it dries down more resinous and you get that sandalwood through. It's a really nice, you know, daytime appropriate, posh, pep to your step type of fragrance. And yeah, I think you should definitely check it out. If you enjoy Lush fragrances, if you enjoy the pure essential oil experience, then try out Shade. So moving on to another brand that has gotten a little bit of attention lately and has also caught my attention. There is a fragrance called Impression Cedarwood Heart, and it is by Ostens. And this brand is super modern and cool. It's like a cool example of a brand that takes perfumery and does something, you know, a little bit chic, a little bit interesting with it. They use a lot of synthetics, and the way that they play with them in combination with their natural ingredients is just quite remarkable, I think. So this one, I wouldn't even say that this is my favorite because I have a few that I really enjoy from this line. The Rose Isparta is also a beautiful, beautiful rose, Turkish rose vibes. This one I like because I am also having an orris kick, and there is quite a bit of orris in this fragrance that comes through to my nose. It is called Cedarwood Heart, so there's definitely that cedar that's prominent, but I get a lot of orris. And then there's galbanum as well that gives this upscale vibe. So if you like fragrances that are kind of on the cold side, so this is autumnal and cool and would smell well when you're well dressed, but it also is slightly cold. It has that buttery orris, which I just adore, and it gives me this outdoorsy vibe when I wear it. Even though I'm indoors, I feel outdoorsy. And all of these smell like just swanky. There's also some violet leaf in this one, so that's kind of a moment that's happening for me at the moment. So check that out for those of you who enjoy something along those lines. And I don't often do this, but we actually have 2 tobacco fragrances in this list because tobacco and fall just goes together, doesn't it? You know, a nice warm pipe tobacco. So this is Ombre Noire. So we have 2 tobaccos that are on different sides of the spectrum. This is a tobacco that is prim and proper. It's brushed up. It is clean. It's something that you can wear to the office. I wouldn't see a problem with doing that. It is slightly dark, but it's medium, you know? It's not full-on dark. It's a fragrance that was created by Lalique for the Middle Eastern market, I believe, but it should be available online. And I have been saving this for this transitional weather. I think that it works great for office meetings, for those days where you want to seem kind of like you have it all together. It has cognac in there as well, which really warms it up, and it has a nice resinous myrrh in the base, which I adore. So lots of resins going throughout this edit, and yeah, cognac, tobacco, but still see-through, still not weighing, still classy, still could be gentleman-y, still could be very feminine. It really depends on the wearer. So on me, it's probably going to smell like I'm some sort of boss woman, and on a man it would probably smell like he's some sort of boss man. So good for both of us. So the other tobacco fragrance that I have is one that I kind of was hesitant to put in this fall edit because it is not a fragrance that is for everyone. It is that other side of the spectrum, so do not wear this to the office. I wouldn't recommend it. Do it if you know your settings, but it is Tabac Tabou. So it is a taboo tobacco. It is pure fragrance art in a bottle. I was lucky to snap this up on sale and I just could not pass it by. Where do I even begin with this one? So it's by Parfum d'Empire, which creates just fragrant, oh, I don't want to say the masterpiece word. That gets just, masterpiece has lost all of its meaning, but they create fragrant art. They use crazy ingredients that they've sourced, and it smells very natural, and it smells like someone. It smells like an actual person. This is a tobacco that is dark, that becomes animalic. There's immortelle in here, so the yellow everlasting flower that is, you know, it's yellow and golden and dried up, and then in combination with honey as well, and the tobacco, all of these elements pretty much dance around the narcissus. So the narcissus is an interesting flower. I find it to be quite a dark flower. Although it is a white flower, it usually comes across as dark, a little bit demure in fragrances. And yeah, this is just a very unusual tobacco fragrance. There's nothing like it, I think. And it is not for anyone. Be a tobacco purist and go out and try Tabac Tabou. I dare you. So I think it's safe to say that we have now hit evening time, because Tabac Tabou, that is you sneaking away and having a guilty pleasure. It's like having a cigarette when you're not allowed to smoke. You go spray on some of that. But here's another fragrance that gives you a kind of alternative evening option. And I'm sure people wear this in daytime as well. As I said, there are no rules. This is Chypre Palatin by MDCI, this brand that has those crazy heads on top, which I never really want to pay for, you know, the extra cash for the heads. But I love their fragrances. And yes, a lot of them are built on concepts that have already existed and have already been done. And yes, the prices, well, I don't know. I mean, if you think about the prices of the luxury market, these are not luxury prices. These are kind of middle range for me. And Chypre Palatin is a Chypre that is sparkling aldehydes with plum with added sweetness to it. It dries down quite syrupy, so it starts off very much hinting at the vintage Chypre grand style. So with that oak moss, that fancy grandma, and I mean that in the best way possible because man, did my grandma smell amazing. And then it dries down slightly syrupy because then you move into the depths of the plum, you into the depths of the leather and the animalics, and it does not go very animalic on me at all. It still remains quite a clean Chypre on me, but that would depend on you, your nose, your chemistry, all of that beautiful jazz that makes us different. And yeah, I just adore this one. I think it might be my favorite. I also have Nuit Andalouse. I also have their Queer. I have quite a few from this line. I do really enjoy MDCI. So this is for all of you guys who like a bold, not at the vintage fragrance that, again, anyone could wear, be a little bit posh, and try Chypre Palatin. I do get reminded with this one, like I said, they build on ideas that have already been done and then they add their little spin on it. This does remind me of Eau du Soir by Sisley. So if you love that fragrance, you will love this fragrance as well. That's also an alternative. I'll have to look up the prices if that one is cheaper. But yeah, it's a good one. It's a nice Chypre. Classic, makes me happy, has a lot going on in there, but still is so simple smelling. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. And so now we're in the depths of the darkest fall, autumn, evening, night, and you kind of want a liqueur. I don't know. You want something liqueur-like. And this is a chestnut-based fragrance. For those of you who enjoy the smell of chestnuts, you will absolutely be drawn to this one. It is Gourmet by Micallef, M.Micallef. It is a French name. I get corrected all the time about things, but it's like, it depends on how you linguistically look at the name. But yes, this one is a chestnut cream. It is sweet, warm. It's a lot. It really can be a lot, but I just am drawn to it. To me, if I think chestnut fragrance, I think By the Fireplace, and I think this, and I prefer this one over that one. It's not smoky per se, it's roasted, you know? Like, some people might think that it's smoky, but it's not smoked, it's roasted. There is a lot of depth to this fragrance. I mean, you have leather that peeps through and adds that pow masculine edge to it. There's vanilla in here that adds that feminine edge to it. So it is a nice combination of all of these things. For those of you who enjoy a scrumptious fragrance deep in the dark night or whenever you please, then try out Gourmet by Micallef. I just can't stop smelling it. And now the last fragrance that we have in the even deeper, darker depths of the evening for me to recommend is Chimaera by Tiziana Terenzi. This is an oudi fragrance, but there's a lot going on. Now that I realize it, there's tobacco in this fragrance as well. So there we go. We got 3 tobacco fragrances. But then we've got leather, we've got honey, we've got caramel, we've got sweet, but we've got woody, we've got darkness. We don't have brightness. It's darkness, it's Moorishness, it's mainly caramel and oud and tobacco and honey for me. It's a luxury fragrance brand, so they do try to, you know, wow you. They do try to do that whole Cirque du Soleil thing in front of you or for your nose. And it is a concept that maybe you've smelled elsewhere before, but it is quite nicely done in Chimaera. Mine says 2020 on it. I'm not sure if they do the whole crop thing, so it depends on which year their ingredients are from and all of that. But This is a pretty stunning fragrance, and if you can pull this off in the daytime, then I love you and I want to know who you are. But I love this type of dark oud. I wouldn't even say that this is very Middle Eastern inspired. Maybe a little bit, but definitely dampened down for European approval. And yeah, this is a gorgeous one. Chimaera. Dark, sweet, woody, and nice. So there you have it, my fall edit for 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you maybe discovered something new. What are you wearing this fall? Please let me know, and also give me feedback on this video. As usual, I'm always open to hearing what you guys have to say. And yeah, I've just missed filming, so I'm happy to be here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.